describes Milton, I'll tell you what comes to my mind is dapper. Milton, if nothing else, is dapper. What does dapper mean? That means he dresses so well. Piece by piece, he goes to the best stores, picks out a pair of trousers, tries them on, his shirts, his shoes, his socks. He's dapper, sharp, giant of a man, good-looking guy. I first met him, he was in my film acting class. I was trying to make a movie in Tulsa, his home. He came into my film acting workshop. Very good actor. And he said, "Clue, you need a location?" Because we go on location in the film acting workshops. You know, it's camera, you know, it's movie stuff. I said, "Yeah, we're always looking. Well, you think about my office where I have my real estate and oil business? It's not very big, but I mean, it's an office. It might be interesting to do some scenes there." "Yeah, that's a hell of an idea. Can I come over and look at it?" "Yeah, come over Tuesday." Okay. I came over there and said, "Hi, come on in." He said, "There's one thing I want to show you, though, that I want to tell you about." I said, "Yeah." See, Milton's very fastidious. The way he dresses, the way he acts, his whole life is fastidious. So he took me into the bathroom. Yeah, the bathroom. He said, "You see the commode there?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Watch, I'm going to lift the lid." I said, "Okay." He lifted the lid of the commode. I said, "That's nice." He said, "Thank you." He said, "There's one thing I would require for you guys to shoot in here." I said, "Yeah." "I would not want you to stand and void into the commode." I said, "Ah." "I would want you to sit on the seat of the commode." I said, "Ah." He said, "And you know why?" I said, "No." He said, "Because it won't splash." "I hadn't thought of that," I said to Milton. "Yeah, doesn't that make sense?" "Yeah. If all the guys in your acting class voided standing up in my bathroom, can you imagine what it would be like?" I said, "Well, I hadn't thought of that. That's fastidious thinking." He said, "Well, I pride myself on having a little fastidiousness in my life." And that's the way I met Milton Berry.
Milton was always on the cutting edge of things, sometimes a little bit too far out on the cutting edge. So he walks in here one day and he's got this little ponytail. It looks like a little rat on the back of his head. He looks at it back. And he walks up to the counter and he orders coffee. And Patrick, who's sitting here with me, looks at me and he says, "This is a desperate cry for help."
And when did he cut his little rat tail off?
Oh, you know,
Is that a big deal?
No, you know, it was pretty clear that it wasn't going anyplace. And I think at some point in time, he made a decision that the shit that he was taking for it wasn't worth keeping it on.
Well, I mean, Milt's always been as on the edge when it comes to attire. Fashion forward. He was fashion forward, but one of our favorites was when he started wearing elf shoes.
What is elf shoes?
Well, they were, you know, like something you'd see a genie wear. They were pointed and curled up on the toe, and it's not a look you see a lot in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Well, the elf shoes matched the merch, didn't they? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he connected the merch with the elf shoes.
Yes, that's right. That's right, the purse.
The band purse, which was Coach. But Milton was embarrassed by the Coach logo, so he had a little leather stitch put over the Coach. So that was hidden. I told him, you should have just put assistant Coach. Would have been cooler. But yeah, he carried the merch, the only one we know.
And then when he had the pillbox during the during the hair transplant.
Oh yeah, he gets a hair transplant. Okay, and he most people in an effort to hide would put a ball cap on. Milton puts his African pillbox hat on.
I think it was the national
It
hat
just
of
screams
Chad.
out. It just screams out.
The what?
The national hat of Chad. I don't know whether it was the guy Chad or the country of Chad. But, yeah, it was the national African striped hat.
And Milt's always good for a really good bet. Like, who's going to win the presidential election this year? When all the polls show that it's going to be clearly one guy, Milt bets with his heart. So he's always good for a steak dinner every 4 years.
By every
But it takes him about 8 years to pay it off.
Does he ever pay him off?
Milt had fantastic
You never
parties
voluntarily
at his house.
No, he doesn't. You have
Milt,
to
you
force
need
it.
to have another party. You had fantastic parties at your house.
Another thing, he and his best buddy Patrick had a little YouTube movie review show on.
Yes, that channel's still up there somewhere.
If you want to see it, and they're sitting just like Siskel and Ebert, except in this format, they've got a big table in the middle, and there's a huge photograph of Milton sitting on the table of himself. So you're actually watching the show and seeing two Miltons.
Of course, he just proves that narcissism is not dead.
When did you meet my father?
I don't remember. It was some time ago. He was my partner for 3 or 4 years in a deal, and absolutely a great partner. Period. And I say that with no reservations. He's a good guy in spite of what people say about him.
I'm going to tell you the story of how your father and I became friends. This was about 11 years ago. And I was living in Oklahoma City then, but I would come back here like every 2 weeks or so. And I'd go to the old Cafe and I saw this, I met this sort of goofy older fella that wore this sort of African, kepi or something like that. It was multi-rainbow colored. This guy's, and he sat like this, and he had a kind of a funny way of sitting. And anyway, a couple of weeks after that, I'm not going to use this girl's real name, so I don't want to get sued. But I'll call her Kathy. So Kathy was a young, kind of attractive attorney. Keep in mind, this is 11 years ago. When I was in Oklahoma City, I sent her an email asking I said, I'm coming back to Tulsa this weekend. Would you like to have dinner Saturday night? And she writes back and says, emails back, says, no, dinner's a little too much or something. It's a little too heavy. Something kind of over dramatic, somewhat dramatic. But I'll meet you for coffee on Sunday at Cubana. And she gives a time like 2 o'clock or so. Sunday comes around, I go to the coffee shop at 2 o'clock. And it's more or less abandoned. It's the old Cafe Cubana. And in walks your father, in walks Milton. Well, I sort of know, but not really. And he goes, oh, you Patrick? I said, yeah, you're Milton, right? And he sits with me and we start talking. The girl doesn't show up. Kathy doesn't show up. And I said, eventually one of us is, he says, what are you doing here? And I said, well, I'm here to meet Kathy. And then there's this pause. He goes, you're here to meet Kathy. So I was supposed to meet her here. And you think I'm making this up. It actually happened. And I said, wait a minute, she told me she was going to meet me here. I don't easily connect with a lot of people. I don't find myself easily chatting with people that I don't know very well. But he and I just chatted for about an hour, very easily, and laughed a lot, traded a few girlfriend stories. And then after a while he said, okay, it's been about an hour, and we're both talking about a girl who's obviously shown no interest in either of us. And that was it, and we ended up becoming good friends after that.
2, 1.
Milton Homer Berry, Stavislavski Jr. Hey, I just wanted to wish you a happy 70th birthday, and my fondest memory of you is when we were in acting class. We were doing Romeo and Juliet, and you're like, Chad, I'm not feeling the scene. I think you just need to take your shirt off take your shoes off and get comfortable and let the scene roll. And actually, that did work. So every time if I have an audition, I just follow those rules. So anyways, buddy, happy birthday, and I hope you have a good one. All right? Peace.
All right. Milton Berry, we have been friends for 30 years. Ah, crap. I forgot what my line was. Can you hold up the cue card for me, please? You are a really gay guy. Oh, what? Great. You're a really great guy. You're a really great guy. You are a really great guy. Is there more to this? Okay, let's see what we got. When we first met, I had hair and you didn't. Now I don't, and you do. And when we first met, I didn't have wrinkles and you did, and now I do and you don't. All right, who writes this crap? I don't know. Anyway, Milton, happy birthday. I love you. And I'm supposed to share a Milton Berry story, so this is probably my favorite. Milton likes to play jokes on people, and sometimes they're not very funny. So one day about 15 years ago, I'm at my house and I get a phone call, and it's from Milton, and Milton goes, Billy, I can't breathe. Click. So I call him back. There's no answer. I call him back again. There's no answer. I call him back again. There's no answer. So I jump in my car and I'm driving over to his office and I call Monty Berry. And I said, hey, Monty, this is Billy, and something is going on with your dad. I've called and called. He called me, said he couldn't breathe, and I can't get a hold of him. I don't know what to do. And he's like, okay, I'll take care of it. So I drive over there, and I get to the office, and Milton's sitting there, and he's laughing. I got you so good. I got you so good. Until the fire truck pulled up with the lights on. And then Monty Berry and his family pulled up in the car. And then Dino pulled up. And it wasn't so funny then, was it? And Milton said, hey, you need to go out and tell the fire department that I'm okay. And I was like, nope, you can go out and tell the fire department that you're okay. So that's my favorite Milton Berry story that I can tell.
Well, I knew Milton mostly through the acting class, of course, and owe him a lot, you know, for that time. It was, you know, when I came to the class, I I loved acting, and I was a really good mechanic. You know, I knew what to do with my hands. You know, how to play a role, how to. You know, there's procedure to go through and stuff, but when I'm in there, I really learned how to be vulnerable and how to be literally. In fact, we were just talking about one day he had me take all my clothes off, but the class, you know, pleaded, so I put it back on. But anyway, Milton's big heart. He was my teacher that I respected very much. I was doing this little movie on my own, and thought, man, I need these bad guys. I need this gangster thing, you know, that guy to show up in the movie. And it would really be great if Milton could do that, show up one day and just, I don't know, sit in a car or something. I could get a visual. So I worked up the nerve to ask him to be in my movie. He said, you know, Brian, I'll do about anything you want me to. So he was in the movie, but he was in several days, several scenes, late at night, all night, you know. Just really poured himself into it, and of course I didn't have any money. You know, he was just doing that for me, and I just totally appreciated that. It's a Christian thing too, and you know, he wasn't really into any of that, and we would pray at the beginning of every day. We'd pray, you know, if we were going to do a difficult scene, we'd stop and pray, you know, and he was fine with that. He let all that ride, even though he's probably rolling his eyes and on the inside, but he did all that, and you know, to this day, I have heard people from all over the country comment on how amazingly believable those bad guys were. You know.
So, who are we talking about?
Milton Berry.
Milton Costanza? Milton Kramer? Milton. Oh, Uncle Milty. Uncle Milty, that's who we're talking about. Yeah, I remember him a little bit for the past 30-something years, I guess. I remember a few things about Milty, Uncle Milty, as I always called him. He always called me Johnny. I always called him Uncle Milty, even though his name's not Milty and my name's not Johnny. But that's just what we've always done from the beginning. From the first scene we did together in Clue's acting class, which I remember was at the punching bag in the old Bells amusement park, and I remember hitting it, and he was playing some sort of gangster type, and I remember he was so good because he reached out and grabs me, and we're doing this really intense scene, and I was like, I really felt like grabbing him, hip tossing him, and throwing him on the concrete. He was so good. So it was like I was very impressed with his him from the beginning, and then just the way Uncle Milty, he always. Another time, we were working on a film, I think it was called The Prize Fighter, with Gary Busey was in it, and Milton had a scene with Gary, and I was shooting behind the scenes. I was doing just a little work, and I was in there with him, going through all these scenes. I was getting basically behind the scenes scenario of all the things that were going on, and Gary Busey kept, no matter what, he would not go on the script. He would never, and Milton would be like, Johnny, hey Johnny, he's not going to the script. I just started laughing. I was like, well, just do the same thing back to him, Milty. Just do the same thing. Roll with it. Just roll with it and just throw back at him whatever he throws at you, and you'll be fine. He's like, I don't know, Johnny. I don't know. Okay. And that was another fun Milty story. Milty, you've been a fellow student, a mentor, a fellow instructor. We've shared in learning and teaching together. And appreciate you, love you, and happy day of birth.
Uncle Milty, we go back a long, long way now. Isn't that amazing how that's happened? And we've had a lot of students in our class come through, but very few who have actually been with us all over the world. I guess my favorite story is the story behind me. The story in front of me, but you can see it here. We were in New York, and we had Hannah and Anna, and we went to the ocean, and we went to a private beach. Nobody told us it was private, and had the jolliest of times, and then went back into Manhattan and went to the movies. I think that's one of my favorite days. Happy birthday. And thank you for being our friend, our family, and we love you, all right?
I don't know if I can just tell you one Milton story because there's so many. But I always think that it's funny that he can operate a complex machinery such as a car and yet struggle mightily with a small phone or emails. It's kind of endearing, actually. Happy birthday, Milton. I hope you don't have any problem playing this video, but if you do, you know who to call. All right, happy birthday.
First of all, happy birthday. And second of all, condolences, because this weekend the University of Oklahoma meets Ohio State, and you'll be I think you'll have 2 losses this end of this weekend, Milton, so I feel very sorry about that, and that is not a very good birthday present for you. I know you'll be in mourning for quite a while, but I will call and try to cheer you up. But in any case, happy birthday, and thanks for all the great fun we've had over the years, and especially for being a supporter of the University of Oklahoma, even though you only stopped there to get gas. Bye.
Wait a minute, happy birthday, Milton. Oh, Milton, happy birthday, first of all. I don't want to even ask how old you are because I know you're ancient. Mostly I know that Anna, who's a filmer, is looking for funny stories, and I do have so many funny stories, except I'll get to that in the end. The most thing I want to say is, Milton, you've been such a good friend all my life. You have been always there for me. I remember all of our coffee talks. You're introducing me to Patrick, the author, and you've just been a good thing, good friend, a good person, and I just love you. So I hope you have the best birthday and the end of your short life. No, I know it will be long and healthy and happy. So funny stories. Okay, well, funny story is, Milton, there's many of them, but the one that I think about all the time is when you came to save me, when Ken called you, and there was no phone contact at the lake. The guy, he was stalking the lake house. He'd cut the lines. You came over the next morning. I want to know what you thought you were going to do with the blanket. Wrap my dead body in it? Yeah, you were not going to save me with that blanket. Okay. Anyway, I love you, Milton. You've been the best friend, and just have a great life.
Of the 1,000 moments that I recall with Milton Berry, I'll just pick 2 random ones. One is the first time I was helping him stack dishes in his dishwasher in his house. He gave me a PhD on how to stack a dishwasher, how to wash the plates with your thumb, how to stack it just so, how to put in this kind of detergent and then this kind of rinser and make sure they came out perfect. It was more than I ever wanted to know about dishwashing, but now I have my PhD. The second moment that just randomly occurs to me is we were talking about sales. We were trying to buy some mineral rights, which is essentially a sales job. And Milton said, you know, when you're selling, imagine you're in your club and you got your feet up on a desk and your friend comes in and you're smoking a cigar and you're just talking to your friend. And to me, that was the essence of salesmanship. He just captured it in a nutshell. It was brilliant. Milton is my father-in-law. I've had 2 fathers-in-law, and he's the best I ever had. I'd go as far as to say he's probably one of the best anywhere.
My favorite Papa memory? That is a hard one to answer. They're all my favorite. I loved growing up being Daddy's little girl. I loved going to the Oklahoma football games with my dad, going to the lake, going skiing, going all the places that we went, making all the fun memories we made. And I would say that I loved that my dad always made me feel very special. One of my favorite things that my dad did was he used to send me little notes to school, like little telegrams, and congratulating me on different things and telling me good job on different things. So I think most of all, I just love that my dad always made me feel special. My favorite funny story was the time when my dad did not recognize my mother and she had to tell him who she was after she said hi to him. So that would be one of my favorite funny stories. Happy birthday, Dad. I love you. Mwah.
Happy birthday, boo-boo.
Fingers out of nose.
I say happy birthday to him. I did. I did say happy birthday to him.
One more time.
Happy birthday, boo-boo.
Well, Dad, these are just a few people that love you and have great memories with you. There are so many more people out there, but this was just all that I could get right now, and we'll keep this Milton Moments going for the future because there's, I'm sure, a lot more stories. But thank you for being such a good father. Thank you for being such a good mentor and just a good example of how to live a fully vibrant, colored life with character, integrity, and yeah, sure, we make some mistakes, but we learn from the mistakes, how to get up and keep going forward. I have so many memories. I sat here really thinking, what's my favorite? There's no favorite. I love the memory of being at 10,000 Waves in Santa Fe and swimming in the pool, and then all of a sudden, other people get in the pool, maybe with or without clothes on. I remember so many moments. San Francisco's coming to me, walking the streets, smoking my first cigar, walking through Haight-Ashbury with you, getting on the trolley. That was so much fun. Even Kansas City, going to a nice dinner somewhere. That was always nice. Driving to Santa Fe, walking through the galleries with you and seeing Phil and whoever you were with. I really loved La Jolla. That was so much fun with Lindsay Butler and the O.J. Simpson trial, how you had to go to the courthouse and try to see anyone you could see, and you just had it on the radio and TV all the time. And then our times in New York, when we brought Anne to Chicago, that was so much fun. And LA with Clue and John and Diane and the whole gang, just so much fun. And now the best part is right here, you as a father, but also as a grandfather to Isabella, and watching you guys play and watching her just light up when she sees you. So you have so many people that love you and appreciate you for who you are. So thank you for being a great man. Happy birthday.